Hello, friends. Uncle Marv here with another episode of the IT Business Podcast, the show where we help you run, grow, do your business better, smarter, and faster. And as part of that, we have been participating in the IT Nation program once again. This is the 2025 version. And as of today, I will have interviewed all of the contestants that are set to compete this year. So this is the last interview. I do not have a little fanfare music or anything, but it's a bittersweet day. But I'm doing it with somebody that has been on the show before. You know him, and I assume you love him. He is from Hirexe, and I am speaking about Keith is in the house. Chris, how are you, sir?
Marv, it's always a pleasure to be here. I wouldn't want to be spending the afternoon with anyone else, and thank you for that intro.
Stop lying.
Thrilled to be back with you.
Stop your lying.
We always have fun, my man.
We do have fun. Let me start off by doing this and throwing you a curveball. I woke up today, went to my closet after I showered, went to go grab a shirt, broke a hanger. And so I'm sitting there thinking, I seem to remember Keith had these nice hangers he was talking about, and I wonder if I should try them out. So I was like, you need to give me that company again and see if I can get myself some good hangers.
So look, that is something that I could offer. We'll talk offline. We want to protect the innocent here. So don't give me your address right now, but I have a couple extra laying around at my warehouse facility in Colorado. We could send them your way.
All right. So for those who may not know, so Chris was on the show last in February, specifically about Hirexe, and we talked about the company basically, finding a way to significantly reduce time and cost when doing recruitment of talent. Chris, anything new in the last, 6 months?
Well, I'm happy that you actually brought that up, Marv. As a matter of fact, we just launched the second side of our marketplace. Think of it as a people GPT for MSPs. So what we've had active for the majority of this year, we actually pushed it live right after we talked, is what we call our real CV. And that is, think of it as like a new age resume. It's dynamic. There's videos. We get a bunch of personal information. As well as, of course, resume and LinkedIn scraping. And we structure all that data. It's completely AI native. What we just launched is the second half of that marketplace. So now as an MSP, look, I've been in the channel for a long time. And frankly, I've worked with a bunch of recruiters too. People in general, especially MSPs, don't necessarily want to talk to Chris. They don't want to talk to a recruiter. They want to get really, really specific with exactly what it is or who it is that they're trying to hire. So that's what we allow you to do. And then what happens in real time, much like you go to ChatGPT and it provides you that specific answer to the question, we're actually going to pull out from our database the best fit options that have already been vetted very, very heavily. We're going to allow you to look through that real CV, see if you're interested in talking to folks. And then if you are, you set up the interviews right through the platform.
Okay, so I was going to mention this. So the website, if you go to hirexe.com, looks a little different than the last time we were there. And literally on that home page, you've got that test our AI powered candidate search. So I'm going to ask, you're not giving real results right off the top there. You're probably giving like little thumbnails and say, for more information, click here, right?
That's exactly right, Mark. Yeah. So when you see that demo or you go to the website, it becomes very, very clear, the solution that we've put together. So again, knowing the channel, everything is completely free. So when you sign up, we make it really easy for you too. We're scraping a bunch of stuff behind the scenes. All that you have to do is drop in your company LinkedIn profile. We put everything together for you. What we'll also do, Marv, is if you're actively hiring, we'll pull that job and we will automatically run that search for you and for any MSP that sets up right there. So all that is free. The experience is completely, again, like I mentioned, AI native, and yeah, it's active and working.
Okay. And when we talked last, just for reference for people that may not have gone back to that show, most of your hiring is out of South Africa, and you're talking about the ability to save, I don't know, what, 75, 80% in terms of salary costs versus outsourcing here in the States?
That's correct. Yeah. So I always joke around, or I tell people I've been outsourcing since way before it was cool in COVID time. So I've been doing this for about 15 years, and that's ranged from virtual assistants in the Philippines to finance folks in India or building software in Pakistan, Eastern Europe. South Africans, they speak English natively, which is great. Very, very Western culture. So they grew up watching Western TV shows, Western movies. They understand our humor, and they're very resourceful too. So oftentimes when you work with some folks, if you get off track or the SOP doesn't add up, they struggle. Not South Africans. And that's something that's extremely important in the IT technician sort of role when you're dealing with people that are generally calling into your MSP, not because everything's going well, but because they might have some sort of a technical issue. These men and women are awesome folks to have on the phone. They roll with the punches, and they're extremely effective.
Right. And we're talking about actual employees, right? We're not talking project, we're not talking, month to month sort of deal. These are actually people you're hiring as your own employee, your remote help desk, or, whatever position you're hiring for, correct?
That's correct. Yep. So the way that the model works is, Hirexe does full staff augmentation. And what that means is we take care of all of the hiring, the contracts, the payment on a monthly basis over in South Africa, so that you as the MSP, as the business owner, don't have to worry about anything along those lines. So what's really nice, and I guess just to give you a specific example, Marv, is we pride ourselves on getting extremely high quality people in front of folks in a timely manner. So with the AI functionality on the people search side, you can literally find highly vetted candidates in real time. And just to put some numbers on that, we've processed about 264,000 applicants over in South Africa so far this year. We've approved about 900 of them to the platform. So that ends up being like less than a half of a percent of an approval rating. So my team is taking a very, very close look at everything that people are submitting. We're coaching, we're working with folks, and then we're only approving that top percentage of folks to get on the platform.
All right. So when you said the 200,000 number, that kind of was nice. But then when you said you pare it down to 900, doesn't sound like a lot. So if you had any feedback about the fact that, well, I wish there were a bigger pool or anything like that, or has anybody had issues finding that position out of your curated list?
Definitely. So I think like the people business, there's always a ton of dynamics that are at play. And one of the best aspects in the way that the product works at the moment is I care a lot. So much of hiring, Marv, is just getting to know quickly. Like I know a lot of the hiring that I've done for my different companies has been, it's tough. You put up a job post and you get hundreds of applicants. Then you have to sift through those as the business owner, and it takes time. It takes hours. And then of those hundreds that you've went through, then you want to set up, initial pre-screening calls. And like I've learned the hard way here too, those initial pre-screening calls shouldn't be 30 minutes or an hour. They should be 15 minutes. Because usually, again, within the first 90 seconds, does this person have the personality type? Are they dynamic enough to potentially hire for this role? So how I think about it, how my team thinks about it is we know exactly what the channel is looking for just from being in it for so long. And we're specifically going after folks that have that MSP experience. So if you do get the recommendation and someone does automatically pop up, you know that they're going to be really, really good quality. Now, of course, there's been instances where someone's looking for, like, maybe it's not a tier 1, 2, or 3 technician. They're looking for someone that is like a heavy networking focused type of support role. Oftentimes, if we don't have that individual readily available, my team is more than capable and qualified to go out, actively find that person, and then serve them up for us again. And that process generally only takes about 48 or 72 hours now, too.
Okay, so you have the ability to expand your pool and go out and, I guess, in a sense, headhunt, right?
That's correct. Yep.
All right. I'm going to throw another wrench in your prep here. So I got this text this morning, and it says, "Hello, my name is Lena. I'm a recruiter at unnamed company. Your resume has been submitted by several recruitment companies, so our company is offering you an online job. The work hours are very flexible with approximately 1 hour of work per day. The salary ranges from $200 to $800 per day with a guaranteed monthly income of at least $9,000 paid daily." So, I'm sorry. These are the things I laugh at. And then if you're interested in joining us, please message me via WhatsApp or Telegram. So obviously I know it's fake. It's ridiculous. What type of challenges are you having with these types of scams and companies out there that are promising, this remote help? And, I don't want to get too specific with, other countries or things of that nature, but that's got to be something you're fighting against.
Yeah, I guess what I'd say, Marv, is the South African market has actually proven to be there's a ton of greenfield over there, and what I mean specifically there is, first of all, there's more folks than people would assume. There's 60 million people occupying South Africa. Guess what the youth unemployment rate is, Marv, for
I remember
under 34 years old.
I was going to say, I was trying to remember, we did this last time, and it was a weird number, like 3% or something.
It's 46%.
Oh, 46. That's right.
46%. So we have
under
a relative
under the age
34.
Of 34. Okay.
And for unemployment in general is 33%. So that's all.
Oh, that's where the 3 stuck in with me. 30.
Yeah, exactly. So what we actually have is, unlike in the U.S. where unemployment rate, in perspective is pretty low, we have a sophisticated workforce over in South Africa, oftentimes that isn't actively employed or is looking for a better job. So we have been, we're starting to truly realize a bunch of network effects. Obviously, that 260,000 applicant number that I threw your way isn't insignificant. We're starting to really begin to realize network effects, and we have folks that are coming to us because, as you know, A players want to work with A players. A players hire other A players. We have like a lot of our top resources really enjoy the firms that they're working with. They enjoy their direct managers. They enjoy the quality of work. And generally, anyone that we bring on board, we're going to be giving a pretty significant raise, at least a 20 to 25% raise from what they had been doing in the past. So we're getting a ton of really, really high quality folks over in South Africa. So it's almost like the exact opposite of that text message that you described.
All right. Since we spoke last, and then a part of Pitch It, I'm sure you're getting a ton of feedback from MSPs that are hearing from you. What type of feedback are you getting that's really good? And have you heard anything that's like really thrown you for a loop? Yeah.
So I'd say the number one feedback that we're getting is this. So really what Hirexe stands for and where it comes from was, I'm aiming at putting together a new hiring experience, those two words combined. And when I explain to people like, okay, we're structuring what used to be unstructured personality data, and then we take all that in and we have like a GPT style interface, which truly just gives you like smart recommendations, not this like throw like spaghetti against the wall approach that we currently have with hiring. When I quantify that with people, the easiest way to do it is just this. And now we're 7 months in, I have real data that I didn't have back in February. The average hiring time frame for MSPs in the US is about 44 days, and that constitutes of about 90 different touch points. So that probably sounds reasonable to you, right? It's about give or take 6 or 7 weeks, and then there's touch points. When people work with Hirexe, and this is not exaggeration, the time or the amount of time from first interview to hire, Marv, is 5 days. And the amount of touch points, it's 5 days, and the amount of touch points isn't 90, it's 11. So what that means is we're saving folks a ton of time. Obviously, we're finding the right talent, and it's so competitive, or people like these folks so much, they're pulling the trigger extremely quickly because they know if they don't, someone else is going to. So that's pretty substantial.
Yeah, but 5 days, that seems ridiculous to me. That sounds like me calling up a temp agency and say, hey, can you get me somebody? And it'll take them a few days to send you over a pool. And even that process takes a little longer. 5 days?
So we're leveraging technology. We're extremely happy about that. We know what the channel is looking for. So we've gotten really good at bringing the right people onto the platform. And then, like I said, that like the product market fit with this South African talent is pretty special. And we have a bunch of folks that are actively looking for work or for the right work at the right firms with the right managers too.
Okay. 5 days. That's going to stick out for everybody, I think.
Yes, sir.
All right, Chris. So. So yeah, you've talked about the fact that you've been involved in the industry a while. You were on here before with another company. You're kind of known as, and I think I asked you this before, but I don't think you answered. I think we just kind of glossed over it, but you've been dubbed the useful AI guy. I'm going to ask you in a different way this time. Where did that come from? Who dubbed that title to you?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite just sayings in life, Marv, comes from just, like how can I be useful in general? And I think so we're living through a paradigm shift in technology, which is extremely exciting. AI is certainly changing the way that companies operate. It's changing the way that businesses are run. It's changing a lot of people's day to day, and just what their basic job function is. But then also personally too, it's a very useful tool. But I also believe that there's a ton of hype, and there always needs to be someone that can take the hype and actually put it into ways, or can transition hype into real active methods of like usefulness and productivity and things along those lines. So what one of the huge aspects, or frankly, where we use AI on the Hirexe side is, again, that structuring that personality data. So that's obviously extremely useful. And then I think like the easiest way, the easiest way to capitalize on new technologies is to mirror someone who's doing a really good job. I think ChatGPT is doing a pretty good job. I think just their user acquisition would also point to that to that point. And what we're designing is, instead of just giving an answer solution, we're giving a people recommendation solution. So that would be just an example of how we're trying to capitalize on technology and make it
all right.
useful.
There's that sidestep again. You didn't answer the question. Who glossed you the useful AI guy?
So that actually came from a handful of entrepreneurs that I run around with in New York. So in the morning, Marv, I wake up naturally around 5 to 6 or so. In my first 2 hours, I try to just do like some deep work. So I try to not answer a bunch of emails or Slack messages, and I'll do some reading, or I'll actually play with technology. And earlier this year, I was actually building out the front end of what Hirexe is, what the real CV now looks like. And I used Claude to do that. And I was so happy with myself. I sent it to a bunch of my entrepreneur buddies, and then I sent it to my back-end developer. And they were just like, I had done that. And then I like went through a handful of other sort of like just AI, just like vibe coding, if you want to call it that. And people are just like, look, Chris, like, you're actually, this is pretty exciting. You're taking AI, but you're actually doing something useful with it. So we've run from there.
Okay. All right. I'll let that go. It still doesn't tell me who, but so as a group of people that you're doing stuff with, I was wondering if it was, Nick Huber, your sweaty startup out there. So
sadly, it was not Nick.
Okay. All right. Well, Chris, let's go ahead and land this plane, and let me step back and give you a few minutes. And as you are the final pitch it contestant to be on the show, this will be the final opportunity for you to practice your pitch before it becomes real. So I'm going to step back now, and you have the stage.
Awesome. Thank you, Marv. So look, how Hirexe started, I was scratching my own itch. And I think that anyone who's built a business or scaled a business knows that people are the most critical and important aspect of the business. And they're also the most difficult to fix. And if I had the conversation in the channel one time, Marv, I've had it 250 times. And everyone in the channel is looking for the same things. They're looking for folks that have that it factor. And it is in not only IT, right? They're technically savvy, but they also want them to be dynamic. They want them to be knowledgeable. They want them to be engaging on the phones when they're interacting with their clientele. So have that it factor. They want them to be reasonably priced. And then they also want them to just to be bought into the vision of what that MSP is. And what I've been able to find is, frankly, I think a perfect product market fit with South African talent over in Cape Town and the surrounding areas. So what we do on the Hirexe side, I know that oftentimes people don't necessarily want to work with Chris or with a recruiter. So we built an end-to-end solution that not only captures real personality data via that real CV, videos. So we take into consideration like price points that folks are looking for. There's videos so you can see and hear what folks are saying. But then on the company search side, we have a GPT style interface that allows you to immediately get matched up with best fit candidates in real time. So not only do we have a superior experience and technology solution, but the price point also matters too. So as you know, in a normal hiring experience, if you're paying someone that just used like $100,000 for round numbers, once you're talking about employee benefits and taxes and everything else that's considered, that all-in cost of the employees end up being about $100,000, or excuse me, $150,000 or so, or 50% more than what the real salary is. When you're working with us, that total cost ends up being about $44,000. So significant savings to your bottom line from a CapEx standpoint. And then, of course, significant time savings as well. So what I mentioned, the industry average for MSP is about 44 days to hire. Our partners hire in about 4. And what we're also really excited about, Marv, 75, I think it ends up being about 73% of our partners that came on board. Generally, people start with one resource, but then 75% of folks have hired at least one more. Other than that, I don't think that there's anything, anything more proud that we have, or any better metric than people buying more of something that's working really well. So that's how I recommend you.
There you go. All right, you have it there, folks. Founder and CEO of Hirexe. I say Hirexe because if you go to the website, it is going to look like hirexe.com. But Hirexe is the company. Chris Keith, of course, the founder. And if you're looking for a dynamic global staffing and recruitment platform that can save you up to 75% of salary costs. And of course, he already mentioned it. If you want to get an employee in place in 4 to 5 days, as opposed to 44, this would be the place to go. So, Keith, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you as always.
All right. And you can see Keith and everyone else in the Pitch It program in Orlando this November at IT Nation Connect. I think I'm going to be there. I got to get final approval from Sean Lotto and gang, but I'll have a booth there and setting up, doing interviews, and hopefully presenting that 3rd place prize of steak knives. But you're going to go to see the vendors and to understand their stuff. Again, Chris Keith, Hirexe, hirexe.com. And Chris, good luck.
Appreciate it, Marv. You too. Looking forward to seeing you.
All right. That's going to do it, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Pitch It series here. Of course, head over to itbusinesspodcast.com. Submit to your favorite podcatcher and catch all of the episodes here as we continue talking to MSPs and vendors in our space to help you run your business better, smarter, and faster. We'll see you soon. Holla.